Peace, everyone. How you doing? This is Carl Albert Davis, host of the Israel Doctrines Google Hangout show, and we got Ryan, the apologetic 747, over the day. We agreed to a debate, but we spoke today, and this is more of an iron sharpening iron.
Mhm.
We're talking about the topic that we was going to debate. I'm gonna prove that I'm an Israelite. Question and talk, but we're gonna go a little further. I'm gonna show him that he can be anybody can be an Israelite.
Mhm.
Israelite is a spiritual thing, but I'm gonna show physically that I'm of the seed of Jacob. We're gonna talk about that, then we're gonna move into other part of it. So you can speak now, Ryan, whatever you got to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Everybody should aim to be a spiritual Israelite. I mean, the kingdom of heaven is called New Jerusalem, so it's not New Tokyo. You know what I mean? We're not trying to be Japanese. So yeah, spiritually, I go with the Romans 9:6, 8. The children of the promise are the true faithful ones, and for me, yeah, I don't know how you or anyone else traces the bloodline, like the actual ethnic Israel. But there are actual ethnic Israelites on Earth today. They didn't go extinct. Like, they're not dinosaurs. So it's definitely possible for you or anyone else. I think you have a better chance than me because I think the ancient Israelites were predominantly black. So, you know what I mean? I think, with intermarriage, race color could become irrelevant. My ancestors could be black, whatever. I don't know how it would work the other way. I guess it goes both ways, but less likely going the other way. But yeah, sorry to rant. Go ahead.
It's all good. It sounds like from the majority of the stuff that I hear from you that you see that, but at the same time, like I was telling people, I said, what Tazariak and all these people have a problem with, that they always been Hebrew Israelites. They now just coming to state that they're Israelites, and that's a big problem because they don't know nothing but the Hebrew Israelite way. They don't know the Israelite way. So I've never been a Hebrew Israelite, so I've never come that way. That's why I be more respectable and more reasonable with you or anybody else. But I'm here to iron sharpen iron. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm an Israelite, a
Mm-hmm.
foundational Israelite Black American, which is based off the Tariq Nasheed Foundational Black Americans. I
Mm-hmm.
just put Israelite because he more of a Moor and he go with the Islamic things and different stuff more than the Israelite things. So the truth they don't want you to know. First Thessalonians 5:21 through 22, it said in the King James Version, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, abstain from all appearance of evil. That's Bible. And I think that's what you haven't received.
Mm.
Nobody wants to prove, and they appearing to be evil by avoiding it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. That's an important truth that God Himself has given us right there in First Thessalonians, and that's why I think it is important to be careful and just make sure you're able to substantiate what you're teaching people, especially what you teach people, because it's one thing to believe it for yourself. Because if you're making a mistake there, obviously God will have more mercy on you and forgive you. But if you're teaching other people things that could be detrimental, that's where I really have a problem. I really don't have a problem with any individual who just wants to identify however it helps them get closer to God. And in fact, I'd encourage anybody to identify with something like calling yourself an Israelite. If it helps you get closer to God, do it. You know what I mean? But me and you share the disagreements with the camps and anyone else who just wants to make being a child of God an exclusive club that is some sort of ethnic prerequisite to get into.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show, just in case you never seen anyone try to present this type of evidence. That's why I asked if you wanted to debate. But like we spoke today, it's iron sharpened iron. So I'm going to go to Genesis 10, 1 through 21. It just states that, but I'm going to deal with a couple of verses out of it. That's 5, 6, 7, and 8. So by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their land. Now I say Gentiles are Europeans. I say the Edomites, which people always call them the Gentiles, Edomites. The Edomites are the ones that call themselves the Sephardic Jews. So that's how I see it. So it showed that there's an isles of Gentiles, though. Everyone after his tongue, after his family, and his nation. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan, and the sons of Canaan. And we got all of them. So we're going to go down to 8. And it says, and Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty man in the earth. Ham is the father of the Hamites, known black people. So it's a text in a book that I'm gonna get to a little later. But Ham is the father of the black man. But Shem, which is Ham's brother, his descendants look like Ham children. They commingled in the world together in the beginning of the book. But we're gonna go through it. Cush is Ethiopian black, Greek word, burnt face. So we got Asher, black, coming out of Cush. Ethiopia again, famous black. Famous Babylon, Cush were, can't say this name, let me get it.
Hammurabi.
Hammurabi,
yeah,
was the law. Mizraim is Egypt. The Nubians black. Egypt mean black. So it's just a foundational thing. Philistines, black, Mizraim, Moors, Egypt, Put, Libya, and everything. Remember, he was asking you about that yesterday. So these are Ham, African, Ethiopians, Nubian, Egypt, Queen, Tamiri, the boy King. So in this Genesis 37, we're going to deal with Jacob going down and dealing with, it said Jacob dwelled in a land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding a flock with his brethren, and the land was with the sons of, I can't say that. I'm not a perfect reader. So
I always butcher pronunciations. I just like make them up on my own, so don't worry about it. I just would say Bilhah, but I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong too. So
okay, and with the sons of Zephah.
Yeah, those are his concubines. You know what I mean? Jacob's concubines.
His father's wife, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So Joseph was a telltale, a whistleblower. What's going on right now? And Israel, the people, basically known as Hebrews back then, hated Joseph for telling them. And he was a dreamer of dreams. It said, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors, which says a lot about this whole thing, because no one ever deals with Joseph had a coat of many colors. If you look at it and deal with nationality as colors, as people do today, that represented something. But I'm not going to go deep off in that. Just use your imagination. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and they couldn't speak peacefully unto him. And his brethren went to feed the flock. In however you say that, we'll let the computer say it. I do have technology, I use it too.
Shechem.
Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thou brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here am I. And when they had saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. This is why when you say you are a Hebrew Israelite and you deal in the flesh, Israel's story is not that great of a story. They're the only one that went against the true and living God. Nobody else had a true and living God. They stayed with their gods, though. So, I mean, the report on being an Israelite is not a great thing. That's why I most definitely would never call myself a Hebrew Israelite. But we're going to keep going. So, all I'm doing here is showing Joseph being sold off into Egypt, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And they went down into Egypt, and Judah said unto his brothers, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Edomite, who is also a Hebrew. He's out of Abraham. This is Ishmael's son, Edomite. And let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brothers was content, and there passed the Midianite merchant, and they sold him to the Midianite. So the Ishmaelites, the 12 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt unto Potiphar and others of pharaohs and captains of the guard. Note that Joseph was 17 years old, the first Israelite to be sold into slavery by his brothers. This is what Israel does. This is why when I said I wanted to talk to you, they wanted to persecute me. And anybody else that want to talk to you, they want to persecute them because they don't want in the mingling of conversation. But if you look, it's only 0 people over here. People act like they don't even know this conversation going on tonight.
Well, your channel's doing better than mine, man. I saw you got 5,000 subscribers, so whatever you're doing.
People gonna come back and watch it and stuff, but I'm just saying, people don't even know that this conversation is going on tonight. That's how much they pay attention to this channel and what goes on.
Well, I wish I can't even get 500, let alone 5,000. I'm at like 284, and I've been on YouTube.
Godfather channel. This channel has been here since 2009. That's why.
Wow, you've been on YouTube that long?
Yes, I've been here that long, and I've been dealing with all these subjects. I'm the only Israelite Christian, which others have popped up, but nobody follows me. People only steals from me.
Well, I think people watch. It's just people don't want to get exposed for some of their beliefs sometimes. So, that's the technique that a lot of the deceivers have. They just make excuses. They're too good. They're bigger than people. They don't have to engage with them, and they don't want to give people a fair environment either. They want to always talk to them on their own channel where other people don't get to have a voice. So that's why. Yeah.
If you wanna share this to your channel, do you see in the top right where it say you can share?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I was wondering because I wanted to share my shows. What do you do? You hit stream to your audience on your channel?
Yes.
I never knew. Thank you for telling me that because I've been on Sonetta a few times. You know what I mean? With my debates, and I wanted to share them so I could try to get more subscribers. I know he doesn't care if I did share it, and I didn't know how to do it.
You can share it. It's the top right up there.
Yeah, I just seen it. Yeah, you're the first. That's the first time I ever noticed it. But yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, everybody don't have the share button because you got to control it through your settings. You got to put it and allow someone to do it.
That's what it probably is. I don't think everybody has that up because I don't have it on my own channel. I don't know how to put it up to help. But do you pay for a certain level of StreamYard that allows you to do that?
Well, I pay the StreamYard every month, so it allows me
Yeah.
that feature.
Yeah, I used to pay for StreamYard when I was doing more shows, and then I stopped streaming as much. So now I just take the free 20 hours a month, and they definitely don't have that on mine. But yeah, even on like Sonetta's channel, I've never noticed that. But I might not have been looking for it either. But he probably definitely has it too, because I've seen it.
He has it.
Yeah.
Many people don't use it. They don't
Yeah.
ask if they can use it or whatever, but yes.
Yeah, I really wasn't concerned with it when I was doing the debates, but it would have been smart because we're lying if we say we don't want to grow our channels. Everybody, we're human beings. We all want more subscribers and more views. You know what I mean? It's just human nature.
So once again, we just going through these people, these lands, and everything. So they sold Joseph to Egypt. This is how we Israelites ended up in Egypt. Joseph was put in prison for a crime, rape that he did not commit. He was falsely accused. And Joseph is a microcosm of the things that happen to an Israelite, especially one trying to be righteous. Your brothers sell you off, they persecute you, they try to kill you, they lie on you, this and that, and they don't want strangers to get salvation. I don't know why people that will give the stranger salvation don't come out and say it. You would have to look on every rock and nook and cranny to find those. They believe it, but they won't do it. They won't just come out and say it to the world because of the persecution and stuff. But I ain't never cared about persecution. So Genesis 39, 1, 4, 7 through 26. And Joseph was brought down into Egypt, and Potiphar and the officers of Pharaoh, captains of the guard, the Egyptians brought him in, handing the Israelites which had brought him down there. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was precious man, and he was in the house of the masters of his master, the Egyptian. And the master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hands. So the Lord was with Joseph, because he put Joseph in Egypt in that captivity and stuff, that he might raise him up and he could save Israel, his people. But what's the problem here? We're going to get to a point where Joseph become the second ruler in Egypt. And Israel, his people, or the Hebrews, his people, come to see him, and he's sitting up there the second in Egypt, and they don't even know who he is. They think he's an Egyptian because they sold him off when he was 17. Now he's a grown man and he looked like the rest of the Egyptians. And we will agree that the Egyptians was a dark-skinned, melanated people, right?
Yeah, I definitely would take that stance. I don't think there were any Caucasian Egyptians, that's for sure.
So Joseph, who was an Israelite, looked just like the Egyptians. And the Israelites didn't know it. They seen him and they thought he was Egyptian because when he spoke to them by interpreters. He didn't speak to him in the Hebrew tongue. And he wasn't wearing fringes and blah, blah, and things that you would know, oh, that's Israelite. Because Israelites, they wear certain clothes and they love the Hebrew tongue and this and that. So you can identify them after the flesh. They're very carnal, right? So we're going to keep moving. So it said, and it came to pass about that time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garments. Now, this is Potiphar's wife. Caught him by his garments and said, lay with me. Now, this Israelite, he like, nah, you another man's wife. I'm not about to lay with you, woman, if you don't let me go. And he took off the running. But we're going to keep going. As it keeps going. And fled and got him out. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garments in her hand and had fled forth, they said, call unto the man of the house and speak unto them, saying, see, he has brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He has came in unto me to lie with me and cried out with a loud voice. So Joseph was in prison. After this, they put him in prison. He was there 13 years. So our first captains was by Edomites, Arabs, children of the east, blah, blah, Abraham children and stuff. So now we're getting down to the key point. And it came to pass at the end of the 2 full years that Potiphar dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 wild flourished cans of fat fleshly, and they fed in, I can't, manna or whatever. And behold, 7. So this just telling you 7 good years and 7 famished years. So Kit was the cows. Joseph saved himself before Egypt.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to make a point. Like you said before the show started, iron sharpens iron. I've done a word study before on the word that's used for evil, which is, ra in the Hebrew. And it's used in so many different contexts. There's literally like over a dozen different like usages. So, it can mean calamity or disaster. But the word ra is actually one of the words there for describing the cows being skinny cows. So it's basically saying like they're bad, it's translated correctly when it says like skinny cows. I'm just trying to point like the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The word is ra for evil. And the same word ra is there for those cows that are in Joseph's dream. It's just really something interesting because I don't know. I try to defend the fact that God doesn't ordain evil at all. So I've done word studies on Ra to try to find, the other usages. So sometimes, yeah, go ahead.
God don't do nothing. People with a lack of knowledge like to say, like I had a debate with a sister by the name of Dr. Mayat, and her children was there. And I said, if your mama tell y'all to take out the trash, who took it out, your mama or you? And they was like, we took it out. Because they don't understand God is in heaven and he's sitting down on the throne. That's the way I believe it. And if he's sitting down, he ain't doing nothing. He got a bunch of angels that he say, go do stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the Lord's Prayer tells us, not your will, but not my will, but your will be done. Like we have a will and we have to try to align it with God's will, but he doesn't force you to do that. He wants you to do that,
And Satan is one of them angels too. See, God is like the Godfather. He got the lawyers and he got the hitmen.
We're going to disagree on that one. I don't know.
If he wants something to happen to you, he says, Satan, go deal with him.
Yeah, me and you are going to disagree on that one. You really think God's making the devil do certain things? Because I definitely can't do that.
All angels serve God, whether they be good or evil. So if God want evil to happen, he tell the angels, go do what you do.
Yeah. Well, we can
evil. Why wouldn't you be like, go do my evil? You got the word to do it now, so you're gonna go do it and do it good.
It's a tough discussion because it comes down to God is all powerful. Obviously, he's sovereign, so he can intervene and stop things. So when the devil has the authority, like in the book of Job, to do stuff, God did have to at least allow it. But that's where it's a tough battle for me, where I don't align allowing and not intervening in all instances with God ordaining the devil. Like, because then if the problem for me is then the devil is just like every other angel, and I don't even think the devil's an angel personally. I know certain people will go to like Ezekiel 28 or Isaiah 14 depending upon what translation you use. The King James will use Lucifer in Isaiah 14. I think that's talking about Nebuchadnezzar. And Ezekiel 28 is talking about the king of Tyre. And I think that the Garden of Eden and calling him a cherub, that's where a lot of people get the devil's an angel thing. But I think it, was talking about the king of Tyre, and it's just kind of eschatological, symbolic language. It's tough, though, because I don't know. It could go other ways, but I don't associate the devil with an angel. What are the verses that make you really think that?
I mean, we can have a talk on that one day. We're not talking about that now so much.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not trying to hit you with a curveball. I got you.
No, it's all good. It's just so.
Sorry, I messed up your flow. I just was talking
about. It's not good. Onion shopper, we up here to talk. You come over here to talk, and I want to talk to you, so we talk.
Yeah.
So, Joseph shaved his head because the Egyptians hated hair. So famine and this and that is what 7 cows. The famine was everywhere in the area, but in Egypt there was food because Joseph had told them what the Lord, he had interpret Pharaoh's dream. So he knew they was going to have good years, 7 good and 7 bad. And Pharaoh had set him over the stuff so he can keep the grain and stuff. So we just showing that at the end of the day, Joseph, okay, let's see. At 30 years old, he became second highest ranked ruler in Egypt, with Pharaoh being the high priest, right? And whatever it is, prince of the life of his. So Joseph's wife was black. She was Egyptian. He married an Egyptian woman because she was the second highest in Egypt, and they wanted to give him something, so they gave him a woman. So Joseph's children are Israelites and Egyptian. So Israelites look like Egyptians, and Egyptians look like Israelites. And in America, what's his name? Jesse Jackson called us African Americans, letting you know that we come from Africa, or tying us back to Africa. So the likelihood of me being an Egyptian or an Israelite, they still both are Israelites for as I'm concerned, because when they was going through the wilderness, they got baptized. When you get baptized, you get born again. So the Egyptians' babies, or the blood, or the DNA of the Egyptians and the Israelites is tied together there. So yes. It's like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm glad you are open to saying that the woman's, also part of like the bloodline, because it is. I do subscribe to Numbers 118 as far as like a biblical teaching that it's the father, that you kind of name the person through. But I mean, even Jesus is, if we go through what Jesus is, he's through the son of David, through the Virgin Mary. You know what I mean? So obviously, God being his father is, I don't know if we agree on the virgin birth or not, but do you believe in the virgin birth or no?
Yes, I believe in the virgin.
Yeah, I assume that much, but I didn't want to just assume it. Yeah, the virgin birth is a clear example of a woman giving Christ the genealogy to be of the seed of David. So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, the bloodline of David was poison. No one could come in the flesh after David's seed to sit on the throne. So you had to supersede him. That's what the Lord did. He just cut him out. You ain't gonna have no father. I'm gonna be your father. You're gonna come to this earth and do what needs to be done without a man.
Yeah, the curse, one of the last kings of Israel, one of Josiah's sons, Jehoiakim or something, it's in Jeremiah somewhere in between chapter 20 and 35 or 39. It's in that range. I'd have to Google it quick. But yeah, he burned a scroll that Jeremiah brought to him, And then God said, I will never allow a descendant of Yahakim or whatever, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but to sit on the throne. Yeah.
So you got pictures here: Arab, Egyptians, Nubians, the true Egyptians, Israelites, and the Jews, Edomites, Esau, so-called Jews. So Europeans are not Edomites. The so-called Jew, Seinfeld, and them people. So peace to everybody popping in the room. I figured y'all looking around tonight, y'all will run into it. So at this point, we see that Israel got two bloodlines. They got Hebrew and they got Egyptians. See, at this point, this is why when I bring up the mixed multitude and stuff, people try to disallow the mixed multitude. But like I said, when the Egyptians wouldn't, because the Egyptians, they've been in the land of Canaan. Some of them made it there. But don't nobody want an Egyptian to make it to the land of Canaan like they don't want them to make it into the kingdom that's coming from heaven. But it's in the history, it's in the book, it's written that the Egyptians, the Lord even started calling Egyptian his people. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of people that don't like to deal with stuff, but we're going to keep going on with this color. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him. And he cried, and every man to go out from amongst them. So he telling the Egyptians, get the hell up out of here. Excuse my French. Get up out of here. And they stood no man with him. And while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren, because his brethren didn't know who he was. They thought he was the Egyptian. Then he got to crying and he told the people, get up out of here. Then he started speaking to his brothers. Hey, y'all, I'm Joseph. Remember y'all sold me off and everything? Yeah, you see where I'm at now, right? And they like, oh, pooh, Joseph. But they didn't know it was Joseph. Though he was their brother, they thought he was the Egyptian because he cut his hair and he was wearing Egyptian clothes and he didn't speak Hebrew to him. It's easy to see, oh, this Egyptian, but he fooled them. But this goes to show that Israel looked just like Egyptians. Now, this is before Moses. When we get to Moses being the grandson of Pharaoh, meaning that this Israelite or this Hebrew passed as an Egyptian grandson, shows that they look alike. And this is where Sinetta wins because he got the Cometics, and the Cometics ignorant and wicked, and they don't like the Hebrew Israelites. And the Hebrew, man, it's been going on for years. Sinetta been making buku dollars out of it to where he can afford whatever he riding in, and his son can afford what he riding in and everything, because it's a way to gut the community of their money.
Oh, I think Sinetta is volunteering more than anything. I mean, he's obviously getting a little bit of money from YouTube. I mean, he should, because everybody that does YouTube, you can monetize with 1,000 subscribers. So.
His biggest debate and money-making thing was Kemet on trial. The Hebrews was putting the Kemites on trial, and they made over $1 million.
No way. Who told you that?
I'm sitting right here watching it when it happened.
Who told you they made $1 million? That's crazy. I mean, I don't count anybody else's pockets regardless. You know what I mean? Good for anybody that gets money however they get it. But no, I think Sinetta volunteers his time way more than I would. Like, I couldn't just sit there and listen to some of the stuff he listens to. And, I'd
be a great volunteer too for the church or whatever if they give me half for the proceeds and stuff, and I can make money from it.
Man, if you had to listen to some of the topics though, like, you know what I mean, some of the shows are rough. And he sits there for hours and he listens better than anybody I've pretty much ever seen. Like, he listens intently and he won't talk. Like I have a hard time just sitting here and not talking. Obviously, that's why I've tried not to, but I've interrupted you once or twice. But he'll sit there for 4 hours, not say a word, and then at the end of the presentation, he'll have.
I don't mind either. See, I volunteer too. It's subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's all I ask. And if you watch the videos, I'm gonna get money. I ain't no big money chaser though. I don't need no Benz. I don't need no Ferrari. I don't need,
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Well, let's get back to the topic though.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, and he went out aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard. So the man wept out aloud. He screamed, and they was like, "What the hell?" Did Joseph in there screaming? And Joseph said unto his brothers, "I am Joseph. Does my father yet live?" And his brothers could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brothers, "Come to me, I pray you." And they came near, and he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, from whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grievous nor angry with yourselves that you sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life." Meaning all that evil that happened to Joseph, God did it because he needed Joseph down in Egypt. And the only way he could get him down there was his wicked brethren that didn't like him, sold him off.
Yeah, the Joseph story is it's tough because a lot of determinists will always go to the Joseph story because they'll quote, I forget what chapter, we're probably right near it now, where Joseph says, to his brothers, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." They'll always, like, determinists will always use that verse to say, "Oh, look, see, God ordained all this, all the evil, but he made it all good."
Well, he set up the wicked stuff. The wicked, they prosper, but it's all set up for the righteous people because eventually they can lose it all.
Yeah, the Joseph story and then Jesus dying on the cross are the two main ones that a lot of determinists go to. And there's obviously determinism in the Bible because all prophecy of God is determinism. That's clear. So for me, it's also some free will aspects. The Joseph story is a tough one though, because I don't know how much free will each brother had, and it's tough. It's tough. It's interesting and tough. Nobody has the exact answers. We're all just doing our best to guess about it, speculate.
We're going to go to Genesis 55 through 11, and we're dealing with this because Israel, or Jacob, which is his real name, Jacob told Joseph, "When I die, don't bury me in Egypt. Take me back to Canaan, blah, blah, blah. So my father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die. In my grave, which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shalt thou bury me. Now, therefore, let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again." So now Joseph asked Pharaoh, "Let me go take care of this business that I swore to my father." And Pharaoh said, "Go up and bury thy father according as he made thee swear." And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh. Now, Joseph looked like the Egyptians, and now Pharaoh has sent a bunch of Egyptians with him. So they go into the land, and the people see them. What you think they call them? They call them Egyptians. We're going to keep reading. So he said, Joseph and his brothers in his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herd, they left for the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both cattle and horsemen. There was a very great company. And there came the threshing floor or Ontant, whatever that is, which is beyond Jordan. And there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning of the threshing floor, whatever that name is, they said, "This is a great mourning to the Egyptians." Wherefore the name of it was called whatever that So that name, that's the warning of the Egyptians. The Canaanite mistook the Israelites for Egyptians because they look alike. And so people might tell me, oh, you're an African American and you this, that, or whatever. But I know a great possibility is I can be an Israelite that came through slavery over here to America on a slave ship and stuff. I say that's what happened, but one has to believe it. You ain't gotta believe it. That's why I said the second part of this is where we can get to talking, and I can show you where anybody can be an Israelite. All you gotta do is get baptized.
Amen.
Once you get baptized, you get born again into the family of God. And God's family is not a flesh and blood family. God is spirit. And when he adopts Israel or anybody else, his name is Israel. He gonna give him the family name. Mm-hmm. That's how anybody can become an Israelite. A Hebrew Israelite won't tell you that though. It's not even in their vocabulary or in their belief to tell you that. So before Israel became a nation, they were 12 brothers and 1 sister. They married other black people who were not Israelites. So pictures of Israel making bricks and Egyptians beating the Israelites and stuff. All black people. So Exodus 1 through 17 and 22. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simon, Levi, Judah, Asher, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob. Where do souls come from?
You asking? What are you asking me?
Read it. It said all these souls came out of the loin of Jacob. Do we know what that means?
Yeah, I wonder if that's the same in every translation. I'd have to look at that. What word they're using for soul there? But because I you read the Bible, but sometimes you'll read a verse like that didn't jump out at you before, but now it's kind of jumping out at me. I'm interested in if the ESV or
it shows that the semen makes souls. It makes bodies.
And all the souls.
Put your semen in a woman, and it'll create a living soul in the woman, and she'll birth a living soul.
Yeah. See, I have firstborn in my ESV, so that's what I mean. That's why that never jumped out.
Like I said, iron sharpen iron, so I'm just making sure we point that out before we go any further.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You got so many different Bible translations, and you got to take them all and just kind of combine them. And
yeah, I'm just showing that souls come out of a man loin, and where they put it in, they put it in the woman, and women birth living souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. That generation died. The children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. So what happened? Israel started growing, or as the Hebrew Israelites, the Hebrews started growing, because that's what the Egyptians called Israel, which was, I say a byword. Most people won't take it as that, but it's just like as the band wrote the book, Hebrew Negro. They equivalent. And don't nobody really want to be called a nigger today unless you just ignorant in the head, but everybody want to be a Hebrew. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's interesting because Esau would technically be a Hebrew too if you look at like the colloquial use of anybody being a child of Abraham, or when I was just doing my presentation on the Edomites versus Apostle, it said the term Hebrew could either have originated with Abraham or with his ancestor Eber, who's just a name in Genesis. He's one of the fathers of Abraham back in the Genesis genealogy. And Hebrew means like crossing a river. Like that's like one of the meanings of it. So it's interesting because it's there's a deep meaning there that we don't always get. Like crossing over or crossing a river can totally mean like a spiritual thing of like you're not crossing a river, you're crossing from this life to the next. You know what I mean? So
correct. You got it all correct. So a Hebrew is one that if you over here, you're a Hebrew, and you cross over here, what are you over here? You still a Hebrew?
Yeah.
When you crossed over, something stayed over there and something new popped up. So in reality, it's a spiritual thing because if you cross over, which if you get baptized, you become an Israelite. You just crossed the river.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a great way of looking at the baptism. And the baptism was them crossing through the Red Sea or the Jordan River initially.
1 Corinthians 10:2.
Yeah.
That's how I woke up one day because I used to argue it all the time. And me and my nephew, like, man, you got to use the Bible. You got to use the Bible. And I was like, it was the baptism. The baptism made them Israel.
Yeah, the people that teach that water baptism isn't important anymore. They're really not going by what the New Testament teaches because water baptism is literally the foundation of like that act of faith in trying to repent towards God that everyone was supposed to do. And Christ himself gave the command to tell the apostles to baptize everyone. So I don't know. That's another thing that I have a problem with the camps.
ISUPK down for baptism. It's a lot of people that don't like baptism.
I know. Yeah.
The reason they don't get baptized is the reason they don't become they can't drop the Hebrew. They can't become Israel. They only Hebrew Israelites. Lying, ignorant people out here that's misleading other people and cause them to taste their nation.
Yeah, you really got to question the motives of why because it seems like some people are smart enough within those camps to kind of see some of these things that me and you see from the outside. So I don't know if it's just money or power. I think those two things are a big part of it. And then you get caught up also in like the pressure of like peer pressure with socially. You've become a brotherhood with all these people. And in order for you to like leave, you got to really stand up against like friends, and it's tough. It's understandable why it's tough.
I've done it. I used to go to feasts. I used to do all these things with the Israel of God. They started saying they was Hebrew Israelites. I said, man, I got to get the hell away from them because I'm not down with no Hebrew Israelite, none. All the ones I know was wicked. And if you start talking like them, I'm throwing you in the same basket. Because I was running around for years. I even spent money at the Hard Rock Hotel up in Chicago talking about this whole thing. Like, look, man, we need to stop saying we Hebrew Israelites and stuff. Y'all are basically saying y'all are homegrown terrorists. Now with what Trump did, they can snatch you up and send you off and they got to tell nobody because you're a terrorist. But the Hebrew Israelites never wanted to hear. I said, man, it's not strategic for you to call yourself that.
Yeah, there's a lot of connotations to it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how negative I would make it because I don't really put it as a negative connotation. But it's also if you associate it with the groups, then you're going to make it negative because you're associating it with all the stuff they do too. And
the only reason I really heard the guy do it because it was the New York Hebrew Israelites came to Jerry Springer in Chicago. And
I've seen that. I've seen that on YouTube.
Yeah, he like, Jerry Springer know we here.
Yeah.
Like, do you got any sense? Jerry Springer don't want no righteous Hebrew Israelites on his show. He got to show the wicked. Because I was on Cross the Line. Michael Brown, I was over there. I told him I was an Israelite, blah, 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 and we was talking. And I said some things to him. He wouldn't even talk to me. He ain't even got to show up. Gorilla Hebrew went over there. He debated Gorilla Hebrew and all of that because he wanted that wicked Sakari stuff on his channel.
Yeah, that's not cool. He's kind of weird because he's truly believing like the white Jewish people that claim to be the Israelites are the actual descendants of the Israelites too. So I don't agree with him, you know.
I told him I'd debate him. He was scared. He called me an Ishmaelite on the show. I said, I'm out of Israel. I told him you're an Edomite. Woo, 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 because he a Jew for Jesus. He's not a European for Jesus. He's a Jew, which are the Ashkenazi Jew. You're an Edomite. I'm an Israelite. Well, the Kohen gene and all that, I was eating that stuff up, but that show is not on his channel. I got the show.
Yeah, I don't know. From what I've seen of him, he seems pretty genuine. I mean, we're all imperfect. Only Christ is perfect, literally. So if we're gonna follow one being, we got to follow God. And
I don't really like this genealogy stuff because that's of the devil. Because where the devil come in and work it at, he take it into racism. I tell them race ain't even in the Bible, but they deal with the other Bible of the lost books, and they find race in the Apocrypha. And they kick race like crazy.
Yeah, I think they only accept the Apocrypha just because a handful of verses that they can chant like rallying cries about Esau, be fire or whatever. But
I ain't got nothing against the Apocrypha when it comes to history. It's got a lot of good historical stuff in there. But if you go into eschatology, Antiochus Epiphanes worked for Rome. Though he was a Greek. And that's how they get stuff messed up because they like Antiochus did this to the temple and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, that was a Greek working for the Romans.
Yeah, that's tough. The Book of Daniel's tough. Some people, like I deal with some SDA, Seventh-day Adventists, and they'll try to have this crazy doctrine that says like, the 1800s was the fulfillment of those Daniel verses, which is nuts to me. So I do kind of lean towards Antichius. I can't pronounce his name for anything. I'm terrible. Yeah. However you just said it. Yeah, I can't say his name for damning me. But I do kind of lean towards him being the fulfillment of the Book of Daniel, one of that Daniel 8 prophecy, because just it seems like it does fit historically that he, was in the temple and he had like them trying to sacrifice pigs or something weird. And that's, it's one of those where I can't guarantee it, but it's just as a messianic person, I have to believe that most of those prophecies are fulfilled because then Jesus comes and fulfills the messianic prophecies afterwards,
Yeah, but remember though, he is a Greek. The world is 4 dynasties. It's Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. So when Jesus in the Roman time is telling you about an end time, it's during the Romans time. It's not during the Greek time.
Yeah, we'll probably disagree because I lean more towards preterism and things being mostly fulfilled.
Preterism. I took on William Bell and Doug Wilson runs from me.
I can't say the whole book. I lean preterism on most of the things, but I also am not arrogant enough to be like, oh, I can tell you that the book of Revelation was fulfilled already. So that's why for me, I'm uncertain on the book of Revelation, especially. So
I was looking at the fact that the Pope from Chicago, this and that. I'm from Chicago. I understand Chicago politics and everything. I said, and they went and got him for Obama. It's something going on. I can't call it or tell it, but it's something going on. But the Pope coming from Chicago, the United States, I believe that's a big shake your head.
Do you think America is Mystery Babylon or something? Because a lot of people say that. I don't go with
that. The Babylon is the whole world.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with me and you totally agree on that because people get so short-sighted and they're like, America's Babylon. I'm like, the population of America is 330 million people. The world's got 8 billion people in it. Like like I said, if somebody's in Russia, aren't they going to think the same thing, or North Korea, or wherever you are? Like,
America is a big part of it because America is in bed with everybody, but America, because you know, there's a prophecy out there that when tribulations do start, people gonna run to the wilderness, and this is what the Hebrew Israelites used to always do and stuff. And I'll be like, I'm not going to no wilderness. Go to the wilderness. I'm gonna have to kidnap for the people out there. Amen.
Well, like a lot of those verses are just symbolic too. You know what I mean? And like you just said, what I agree with, Babylon's the whole world. Like wilderness could just be like a reference to being in sin, just like how in Exodus, 16, right after they came through the Red Sea, they were in the wilderness and it was called sin.
You'll disagree a lot if you go there.
Oh, we'll disagree.
I'm a literist. I'm a literist. People like to say, well, he's a futurist. No, I'm a literist. Whatever the Bible say, even if it's in parable, it has a literal connotation to it.
No, it has both. It always has both. Like, I agree with you. Like, the literal meaning is also part of the verse. Like, there's always like the literal, and then there's always the symbolic underneath to me. And like Jesus, especially in the Old Testament, is underneath a lot of the literal. Everybody will know the obvious ones. The Passover lamb, or the blood on the doorpost representing the blood on the cross. There's so many things where you take it as literal because God's so brilliant. He's able to weave in literal events with his symbolic motifs, Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to it now. Exodus 2:1-23. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took a wife for the daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him a ark of bulrush and dabbed it with slime and with pit, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flag by the river, by the brink. So this is Moses' mother, a Levite, father of Levite. So he full-blooded Israelite. So they're killing the Israelite children now. So Moses has to be hidden. And his sister stood afar off and took with what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. And her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark amongst the flags, she sent her maidens to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw a child. And behold, the babe weep. Moses weeping. And she had compassion upon the boy, the Hebrew boy, and said, this is one of the Hebrew children. Then said his Moses' sister to Pharaoh, daughter, shall I go call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women? And his nurse is Moses' mama, who's a Levite. She know who she is, and Moses knew who he was. Pharaoh's daughter knew who he was, but he said, this Israelite finna be up in the council with my papa. Because he looked like us. I can lie and say it's my boy, and he gonna believe it. Now, we know Moses wasn't white, because if Moses was white and she took him up into that black Pharaoh house, it would have been, hey, where you been? What you been doing? So another thing to show that Israel is a melanated people. What ignorant people would say black. But just pointing out this stuff. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take the child away and nurse this. So Moses' mama nursed him. Right? Let's go down. And the shepherds came and drew away. So Moses was with the Midianite woman here. And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? But Moses fled far from the face of Pharaoh and went into the land of Midian, and he sat down by the well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drawed water and filled their and filled the water. They fathered the flock. They filled the jugs basically, and the shepherd came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to whatever that's called, their father, he said, "How is it that ye are come so soon today?" And they said, "A Egyptian," which Moses was the Israelite, but Moses looked like the Egyptian and had on the Egyptian clothes and wasn't speaking Hebrew and stuff. He was speaking as the Egyptian spoke. So once again, they mistaken Israelites as Egyptians. So like I told you, the conscious community is ignorant. I told them and showed them what an Israelite was, and they kept arguing and fighting with Hebrew Israelites, never knowing that they Israelites, not no made up thing called a Hebrew Israelite. But they were supposed to be scholars and stuff. Black ignorance.
Yeah, whatever they call themselves, it's not good. It's like, I don't even know what they try to identify as nowadays with some of the camps. I mean, it's interesting. There's so many camps now and so many different leaders that it's a mess. But they all kind of take the same playbook. They'll all have like the 12 tribes chart and the sandwich boards and the.
Because they all got the same roots. One West, which is IUIC, ISUPK, Reverend of Christ, GMS, Sakari, all of these people that come out of One West are Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
They don't understand and comprehend anything but Hebrew Israelitism. Hebrewism, because that's what they was taught. This is what they was put in the army with. You go to the army, you get programmed. And when they program you after that, you program, you run off the program, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Even like you said, Guerrilla Hebrew, Sakari, all the groups that start, Sons of Thunder, they all start from learning from people like the original One West people, like Zabak taught a lot of them, Nathaniel taught some, Johanna taught some, and then they all branch off, but they go to GMS, learn from Tahar, it's pretty crazy that it all goes, but it's only been like 1-2 generations max, it goes back to whatever, 1969 or whatever, but yeah, I mean, again, I don't care too much about the history of it all. I just see what I see in the current day. And it probably started out with a lot better intentions than it has now. It probably was a lot more righteous in the beginning. And it just then.
The wicked gangs in the community today started off righteous. But people, let me explain what's happening. We were supposed to have a debate. It's more of a conversation now. Iron sharper iron.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm showing that Israel looked like the Egyptians. They was black, blah, 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 blah. Just to deal with the physical thing to show that I am an Israelite, I believe after the flesh. And this is why I believe it based off the fact that the Egyptians and the Israelites look the same. And what's his name? Took Malcolm X out. I mean, not Martin Luther King out of him. Jesse Jackson called us African Americans. So, I mean, in all likelihood, I'm one of them blacks that are Israelite. Maybe not. Maybe we could roll the dice, but 9 out of 10, we're going to hit 7 on the first roll. But so anything they want to talk about or whatever, the link is right there. You can come in.
I shared it on my channel too. So a few of the people in the chat are probably from my channel. I recognize like Nunya Biz and Stefan. They come on my channel and they're good. They're decent people. They're like, you know what I mean? I almost say good, but I say only God is good. But yeah, they're nice guys. We have good conversations sometimes. But it's funny. We all all have our own biblical understanding. Like even the guys in the chat from my channel, I know that I disagree with them about a lot of things, but we agree on some. If you agree with people on the fundamentals of the gospel, that's what matters at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You have to.
Really, what we doing, we get to know each other. We talking to each other, man to man, and not respecting each other and trying to build a rapport that may last forever, may do some more shows, but we gotta build it first.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I didn't act like I didn't want to have a conversation with you at all, because it wasn't like that at all. It was more so, at the end of the show, I had bad experience, arguing in the pot. Obviously, I've already said that, but yeah, I just, I didn't come into Judah's room, the Torah Knights room, just to try to call people out either. You know what I mean? I didn't come to call people out at all. Period. It's just kind of the way the conversation Judah was going, was he was trying to make it be like, well, look, he called Captain out and none of these guys want it, blah, 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 blah. And so all I did is kind of respond like, yeah, I'll debate Captain or anyone. And then when I said that, you were in the room and it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess. It wasn't like we had a confrontation like I did with Captain or any other One West person.
Well, like I tell people, most strangers, I'm gentle with them, because to a degree, they claim to not know nothing. The Israelites say they don't know nothing. Well, I'm going to jump on a person that really don't know nothing. But they know more than what they think they know. So I try to build a rapport with them, because I ain't got nothing against them. You can get salvation. I've been saying that for years. They even stole my argument and put it on all these platforms. Who can get salvation, right? So I'm building with the brother. I've been trying to build with vocab. This Israelite Christian to build a rapport with people, and that's all I'm trying to do with the brother now.
Yeah, I'd rather try to build with people than debate people, honestly. I think debates are more for when we can't find mutual agreement and we just both really are passionate about trying to prove it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we can agree and disagree about things, and we don't always have to debate it just to prove it. You know what I mean? Just try to talk to each other and learn from each other is the most important thing. I mean, God doesn't we both talked about James 3:13 and through 18 earlier, and just the whole chapter, James chapter 3. It's like knowledge from above is peaceable and kind and gentle. You know what I mean? A lot of times, unfortunately, debates end up turning into the opposite of that, where it's just like competitive and insulting and demeaning, and one person's dumb and one person's smart, and it's not the best way to talk, especially when you're trying to come to righteousness.
Well, see, like I said, what I do when I debate, I mostly teach. I'm not going to argue with you too much, because I know too much to even argue and fight with you. But when you bring a point out that needs to be spoke up on in a greater extent, I take my time and go into my notes and bring that part out, because it needs to be brought out at this point. And this is what it's about. See, the people ain't used to seeing the church speak. I believe I'm a part of the church, and I'm going to speak to anybody else that's in the church, because the church is not one building. This is what 2 or 3 get together and can agree or even disagree, but at the end say, hey man, and go about their business and live their life in a righteous way and help somebody else.
Yeah, and become, like you said, hopefully acquaintances and friends, and people that you care about and want to help and talk with and build relationships with, learn from, all that. So, yeah.
Servant. Be a good servant. I see you on the road. I see somebody split your head, home you and this and that. Hey man, take care of them. Here go all the money you need, and if you need some more, I'll be back next week, and I'll pay you some more if you help this brother. But see, I'm not a wicked Hebrew Israelite to be like, whoa, the hell with him. Let him stay on the street and be hungry and all of this and that. That's just not my life.
Yeah.
So we're going to get back to it. We got a little couple notes here to deal with. Even the Pharaoh of Egypt didn't know the children he thought was his grandson was actually an Israelite. So the Egyptian looking at this boy, they calling his grandson, and he don't even know. I'm looking at an Israelite. So Moses always knew he was a Hebrew because his mother raised him. And then the Midianite sister mistook Moses for Egyptian because he was black like them and he wore Egyptian clothes. So Exodus 3 and 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and I have heard the cry by reason of the taskmasters, for I knew the sorrows. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou might bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
Hey, I gotta take my dog out real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right, thanks. I'll be right back. All right.
So for the crowd, I'm steady teaching and showing different things you may not ever paid attention. Exodus 4, 1 through 2. And Moses answered and said, behold, they will not believe me, nor will hearken unto my voice, for they will say, the Lord has not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, what is that in thy hand? And he said, a rod. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thy. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thy hand, and that it may put forth thy hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it. I think I copied this wrong, but anyway, and caught it, and it became a rod because it was a snake before that. Somewhere I remember the story, but it looked like verse 3 ain't there. That they might believe that the Lord of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thy hand in thy bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprosy. This picture of the leprosy. See the leprosy? Black man got white hands. That's what happened to Moses' hand when he put it in his garments, right? So 7, he said, and he said, put thy hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and pulled it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again his other flesh. And this shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to their voice of the first sign, they will believe the voice of the latter sign. So once again, showing that Moses was a black man, looked like the Egyptian, and that at the end of the day, that's what Israel and the Egyptians have in common. They look alike. Now, the truth of the matter today that the Edomite, the Ashkenazi Jew, look like the Gentile, the European, and you can't tell them apart. That's why you hear ignorant Hebrew Israelites always calling a plain European an Edomite. He's not an Edomite. He don't claim to be a Jew. So why are you doing that? Because their ignorant teachers told them that. But we're going to keep going further. Ryan will be back pretty soon. I appreciate y'all coming on. Please do at the bottom of the screen say, if you will, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. I think I got 5 people I need to make 5,000. It'll be a great help to me to reach 5,000. It's been hard. But we're going to keep going, y'all. So Exodus 12, 1, 2, 3, 5 through 7, 12 through 13, 29 through 33, 40. We're going to blow it up here so y'all can see it. So it said, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months, which is the month of Abel. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, and say, in the 10th day of the month, ye shall take to them every man a lamb. This is the beginning of the Passover, people, which is for Israel and those that believe in the Lord God of Israel, because there was some people down there in Egypt who are Egyptians. They believe in the Lord God of Israel. When the Lord was putting them plagues on them Egyptians, they seen what was going on and they was taking notes.
Sorry about that. I just had to take my dog out.
It's all good. Them people was taking notes, and when Passover came around, they heard what the Lord told them to do. And some of them saved their firstborn by doing what Israel did. Because the truth of the Bible, from my study and research, is you gotta be grafted into Israel. You gotta become a child of Israel. Israel is not just Jacob. Israel got his name from God. So when they say the children of Jacob, them Jacob seeds out of his own loins. But when they say the children of Israel, that's a whole nother group of people. It's a whole nother group of people. That's why you can read in Romans where everybody that Israel is in Israel.
Yeah. Romans 9:6-8 says the children of the flesh are not, all Israelites, the children of the promise.
So me myself, I call myself an Israelite after my nationality and a Christian after my faith. I would implore all y'all to be Israelite Christians, because that's really the only way you're gonna get saved or get salvation. Hebrew Israelite wouldn't tell you that. They'll tell you can't get salvation. No way. Ain't no way you can be Israel, but it's no way you can be a black and not black, or a Hebrew and not a Hebrew, or an Israelite and not an Israelite. That's a separate doctrine, people. It's a separating doctrine that I don't believe in and care for. But
yeah, sorry to interrupt you. The fact they make calling yourself a Christian this negative connotation too is really bothersome. Like 1 Peter 4:16 says, "Yeah, if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name." Like that's literally 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 16. So it's like Peter saying, if you're suffering as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name. So the fact that One West camps try to throw out the word Christian like it's, oh, you're an insult or stupid or you should be ashamed, it's literally anti what the Bible teaches.
it's antichrist. They're literally antichrist. Oh, you a Christian? A Christian starts with Christ. And they antichrist. They like the hell with Christ. We don't F with that dude. He was born of a man, Joseph, this and that, and they hate him.
Yeah, the children of the promise, I definitely think is also a motif of the virgin birth, because Sarah in Genesis 18:11, it says, and Sarah was past the age of women. Like the way of women, it says the way in the ESV, it says the way of women had ceased with her, meaning she could no longer have a child. So if God's going to promise Isaac to Abraham through a 90-year-old woman, Sarah, who's past the age of giving birth, that's literally a very blatant motif of God's going to make a woman who's not supposed to be able to give birth to a child, not just for Isaac, but also in the future for Christ through Mary.
I mean, a lot of people, they don't read the Old Testament, but I mean, Eve was promised a child and didn't say if it was going to be a man and stuff, but we know she had Adam for all her love babies. But then that promise to Sarah, people don't even think about it. Yeah. Though she had a husband and he impregnated her, she, like you said, she was beyond the age of really having babies. The Lord blessed her womb that she may have a baby. She got a seed from Abraham, but at the end of the day, the Lord said that baby gonna come, irregardless.
Yeah, and also Hannah's prayer when she couldn't give birth, and then she prayed for the prophet Samuel. she was basically, one of the earlier women who had the Holy Spirit. The one Eli, the priest, was like, are you drunk? And she's like, no, I'm not drunk. Just like in Pentecost, she said, no, I'm not drunk. I'm just, praying from the heart to God. And that's what led to Samuel. And obviously Samuel led to anointing, King David and all Saul before that. And Samuel was just obviously a pillar of righteousness. So yeah, throughout the Bible, barren women giving birth is a miracle that God does over and over again. It's not like a one-time thing,
Because there's nothing new under the sun. And if it is new, it's old back there where he did it. And now it's possible in the earth because ain't nothing new under the sun. That's why I believe in resurrection. A lot of people don't do it, but Jesus died and resurrected. Now mankind can die and resurrect. Nothing new under the sun. But let's keep going with this conversation. Once again,
sure.
and color and stuff. So we in Exodus 12, and now we're gonna go down to 6. And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel should kill it in the evening. Why? Because the Passover starts in the evening, people. It's a Passover supper or dinner. And when you eat the Passover, you can't have Passover leftovers. The Lord said, burn it. If it's some, burn it in the morning. Get rid of that Passover meal. But anyway, we're going to keep reading. There's a lot of things that y'all probably need to learn. And you can't take the Passover if you're uncircumcised. If you get circumcised, you're under the Abrahamic covenant now. When you told Abraham, circumcise your born and the ones you bought with money. Now, bought with money is different than bought with blood, but you bought with blood now. So everybody needs circumcised. See how it all goes back to what he told Israel to do. The rest of the world got to do too. I mean, you got to become Israel. But hey, so and then he said, take the blood and strike it on the two side posts and so on and so forth. So we're gonna sum this up and get past this. And about 600,000 on feet were men besides children who dwelt in Egypt with 430. Right? So we see, we're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. I want to read it. So it says, and Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians that were a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there were not one dead, because Pharaoh talked crazy to Moses and killed all the firstborn of Egypt. Because he talked crazy, and the Lord came through that night, and they didn't keep the Passover. They didn't put the blood above their doorposts. They didn't believe in the Lord. This is what made you with the Lord and not the Lord. You got to make a decision. You see the Lord working, and you say, I'm with the Lord. Believe on the Lord. That's all the New Testament is saying, and the Hebrew Israelites hate that because they anti-Christian Christ. But it's all about belief. You see the Lord working, and he prick your heart. Better roll with him, because if you roll against him, that's you. The blood of the Lamb is the same blood of Jesus in the New Testament under the new covenant that covers you. If you got that blood, death will pass right about you. It won't even stop at your house.
Yeah. Also, when Jesus, sorry, I'm just turning my camera off because I got to stand up a little because I sit on my couch too long. It hurts my back. I don't know if you noticed, but I broke my neck 12 years ago, so I take pain meds and stuff like that. I know other people told me you had a serious health thing yourself, but I don't want to get into your business.
3 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm just standing up. That's why I have my camera off. But yeah, when Christ got pierced on the cross in John 19:34. It makes a point to tell you that blood and water came out. Like you said earlier, like the baptism is foundational. And if you don't have both, then you're not part of the covenant. You know what I mean? And there's a reason that blood and water came out. You know. I don't know.
We can relate. We ain't gotta argue. We can just talk. We can relate. I'm glad you was like, I'd rather talk. I was like, I love Onion for Onion's series because I done did a lot of them. I talked to white Europeans. I don't like calling y'all white, but Europeans a lot. So history book, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons that lived through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark race, not the Negro. And what are we known as in America? Negroes. Negroes are what? Israelites. That's why Ham, the father of the melanated people, is not the father of the Negro. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Negro put the Egyptians, Libyans, Canaanites, Ethiopian, not the Negro. The Negro are Israelites and are black and always will be black. So the only reason I take the position that I'm Israel is because I know the job of Israel. People think when they say Israel is chosen, that's because there's something special about them. Yes, there's something special about them. Their job is to teach the rest of the world about their God. Israel not on their job and has been on their job for years now. Mostly due to the Roman Catholic Church put them in the gladiated pits and killing off the first Christians, which were Israelites, thanks to Rome. But yes, Israel's job is to teach y'all about his God and how to keep his feast days, how to eat right, how to do everything the way God wants us to do it. If you in the woods and stuff and you take a poop, cover your poop up. Don't just leave it there where people can step on it and stuff. It's a way of living. And the modern Christians are truly the modern Israelites. Just no one ever told them that.
Yeah, that's how I've been watching Vocab Malone's debate versus Zion Next on who are the biblical Israelites, and I think Vocab won that debate. I was because he was saying the church is the modern Israelites, the Christian church.
Well,
yeah.
These apologies. If you go to debate talk for you, me and him debated the same thing, and I said ethnic Israel is the church, and I showed him.
You debated See, I'm not like, I don't know. Vocab hasn't had the best rapport with me. I only had one interaction, and then I tried to talk to him on Instagram after, and he wasn't cool with me at all. So I don't really align with him as like a person that I agree with. Because
say that when I was over there on Judah.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm not with him on all the things he teaches by any means. I totally disagree with a lot of his Calvinism stuff and some of the things he says and does. You know what I mean? But yeah, so you had a debate with him about who the biblical Israelites are on his channel, or where'd you do that?
I didn't talk for you. I was at work. I didn't have my Bible or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, we got to debate tonight because I don't run from nothing. See, if I tell you we're gonna debate, I'm gonna be sitting right there waiting for you to pop up or the channel to turn on or whatever. I'm not running. I'm gonna be there waiting. So I debated them right off the mind because in Acts it said the church was in the wilderness, and who was in the wilderness? Israel and the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mostly it was all about Israel. And even in the New Testament, what is the church called? The Israel of God.
Yeah. You know what verse that? I know that's a verse. What do you remember? What verse that is?
Not off the head, but
yeah, I'd have to Google it. Yeah.
The Israel of God. KJV.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it. It's a verse. I'm just curious where it is because I'd use it sometime.
Galatians 6.
Galatians 6. Yep.
Galatians 6 and 16.
Yeah, we're blessed nowadays to be able to like have the Blue Letter Bible and a Bible get all these sites, Bible Gateway, all these sites are so nice that you can cross-reference verses. Like that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Like I've never did it
Well,
before.
after my stroke, I had to do it. Back in the days, I was concording something to myself, but when I had a stroke, something happened. So it says in Genesis 6 and 16, as many as walk according to this rule, peace be unto them, and as many as mercy and upon the Israel of God. Because that's what the church is, it's the Israel of God. What if you be black, white, male, female, fat, skinny, black? Whatever it is that separate us, you ain't me and I ain't you. You left-handed, I'm right-handed. We the church. I go as far as saying I'm the anus of the church because body got many different body parts. I'm the anus.
Crazy, man. You're not really reaching for too much nobility in that way. You're saying you're the anus of the church. You're saying anus, right?
Yes, butthole.
Man, why you saying that you're that of the church? Why?
I'm just saying.
I'll take anything too. I get where you're just being humble. Like I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God.
When I was young, they say if you did shit ditches, be the best at it. No matter what you do, be the best at it. If you don't do nothing but go out and dig shit ditches, it's stuff. Cause back in the days, people used to poop and they didn't have indoor toilets.
Mm-hmm.
So their backyard was their toilet stool. They had to put the lights back there and stuff and everything. So it was people that used to dig poop ditches. And you should be a respectable poop digger. So
yeah, that still sounds better than being the anus. I'd rather be the guy digging the shit whatever trenches.
It's just trying to show that's why my stroke is different. Look, man, I've never been the humble dude.
Mm-hmm.
Lord gave me a stroke to humble me, and I've got humble. Because when you didn't show, back in the days, I'd have called you, I'd have been like, oh, he was just cow with this and that and that. But I didn't make a show. I didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at all, though. You know what I mean? It wasn't. Honestly, it was just a
assumption would have caused me to do that.
I get it. The old me would react and do certain things too, but that's why I made a point to try to get a hold of you through Judah. That was the only way I knew how. But you know what I mean? Because it wasn't like I was scared to talk about the topic. It's just like I figured if we could talk more, because we kind of agreed about the spiritual Israelite thing. Like in order to debate someone, you got to really disagree with a significant premise of what they're saying. You know what I mean? And I didn't really get that vibe that me and you were totally disagreeing about things. And like the only thing we're really disagreeing about is, if you think you can prove it 100% unequivocally, but the way you've spoken about it now, you're not saying that at all. You're saying it's a high likelihood that's what you are. And even if you want to say it's unequivocal, it's not my job or my right to tell you that you're wrong. Like that's your opinion. You could be right. You know what I mean? And
I only did it because nobody else wanted to argue or debate it with you. And like I said, I was sitting in the car with my brothers because my brothers don't believe on that Israelite stuff, blah, blah. They still eat their pork, they did that. So I'm kind of a throw off of my family. And they was like, because see me, I said I'm an Israelite nationalist.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a tribalist because if you deal with tribes, I don't know what tribe I mean, but I know I'm a part of the nation of Israel. When it's time to go into the kingdom and go through them kingdom gates, you say, Kyle, you a part of so-and-so tribe and go sojourn with that tribe. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. That's the thing, too, with the camps is they're so arrogant. They're just like, oh, yeah, this guy's from this tribe. That guy's from that tribe. Oh, you're from that nation. You're Puerto Rican. You're from this tribe. It's like,
well, the story I heard is they started telling that lie, and then they had to keep that lie going. But
Yeah.
I have to step away for a sec, so I'm gonna cut off my channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to keep talking to keep the show going, or just
You can talk, it's your show.
Sure. I'll just keep it going for a second. But yeah, it's good to see other people that I haven't seen before, and also the people that are familiar to me in the chat. This, like I said, was a conversation that just came about because we were talking about possibly debating, who are the Israelites today. But then, it wasn't something where it was a big confrontation or anything. It literally occurred 2 days ago, so neither of us had, a big preparation. I mean, I already had a presentation from a prior debate, but I didn't expect Israelite doctrine to come up with an entire PowerPoint within 24 hours. He was just ready to defend, what he believes within a day. So, for an actual formal debate, if it was necessary, I would never force anybody to only have 1 day time either, because it's not fair that I already have a PowerPoint presentation. Well, again, I don't care to debate every person that identifies in a certain way about the topic. It's not a pride thing or an ego thing. It's more just as long as we can faithfully agree on what matters in the gospel message that I care about. And clearly me and Israelite doctrine are on that wavelength. So that's what's important to me.
Hey, brother, it's Israel doctrine, not Israelite.
Oh, my bad. I know you're
all good though. It's all good.
You are sensitive about the terms more than I wouldn't.
Well, because terms define people. People are defined by terms, and then these people out here using false terms. I'm a Hebrew Israelite and this and that. And me and Satnetta, I'll be like, Satnetta, they Hebrew Israelites, quit calling them Israelites because the people are already confused. And you trying to say it ain't no different. This is a different. Them are terrorists. I'm not a terrorist. An Israelite is not a terrorist. But a Hebrew Israelite waiting on tribulation so they can wait white women. And I ain't trying to rape no white women.
So you don't even want to be, you only want to be called Israel, not Israelite, basically?
Israel doctrine.
Yeah. Just never, you don't want to associate with Israel.
No, I'm an Israelite. I say I'm an Israelite Christian.
Got it.
Once you say you're an Israelite Christian, you know Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah.
Israelites is anti-Christian.
Yeah, Israelite Christian is definitely the better way to put it, because otherwise people will get confused and they'll start throwing you in with a bunch of other people that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like to call myself a preterist, because I don't agree with all the preterist ideas, because I can't prove revelation.
Partial preterist.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I am, but I definitely lean more towards a lot of it, because like Luke 24:44 is a verse that really made me change my mind on how much of a leaning towards preterism perspective I have, because Jesus said everything written about me in the law and the prophets and the Psalms I had to fulfill in Luke 20 chapter 24 verse 44. So when Jesus himself is telling you everything written about him in the law, the prophets, and the Psalms had to be fulfilled, like we have to accept that as the word of God, and that means he fulfilled all the prophecies written about him. You know what I mean? So clearly in the New Testament, there'll be things that he says are also going to occur in the future. But as far as the Old Testament prophecies about him, Luke 24:44 really changed how I view the scriptures, because I wasn't always leaning as far as, towards preterism as I am now.
All right. Well, let me speak to this guy. Israel doctrine mean he may not make salvation. He are the 2/3 or whatever. Look, number one, I'm not hating on you. I don't even know who you are. You're watching me. I'm not watching you. So please don't hate, because you will get blocked. And see, I'm trying to talk to this guy and be nice, but I am a cursing preacher. I curse you out and do everything else I need to do to you. I don't care about you or who you are. Don't come over here hating on my channel and things of that nature, please.
I don't think he's coming at you, man. It's hard in the chat. It's hard because their comment is for something we talked about 5 minutes ago. Sometimes, you know what I mean. So that's the problem sometimes with the chat, is like their comment was something.
Jump on. They said they'll jump on.
All right. Well, yeah. Let them hit the link.
Link to the side chat. I'd rather talk to you and understand that you're not trying to down me or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's hard in the side chat, people.
Yeah.
The is be grateful or gracious at all time, so one won't believe that you coming at them. I know it's easy to be foul and talk crazy about people and say stuff, but that's because y'all been on these foul channels that promote that stuff. I don't promote that stuff. I don't like disrespect at all. You disrespect me, I'm going low than the lowest. I'm talking about your mama, your daddy, your baby, everybody.
Don't say what you did the other day. You were bugging the other day. You're like, when you said the dead kids part, I was like, yo, man, you got to take it easy on that one. Like, the mom and daddy part's all right, I guess. You know, still.
That's with me. That's all I'm saying. But if
I got it. I
get you. I get you.
I got that far. I got that. When you said the dead kids part, I'm like, damn, he's going in. He's taking it there. Like, he ain't messing around. But yeah, I got the point. But yeah, if it's weird, some people don't like to hit the link either, because I have no problem hitting the link personally, you know. But some people, for some reason, don't like to hit the link. I don't know.
Well, they actually on your page. I can't even block them. So I'm gonna be humble and just leave it alone, act like it didn't even happen. But yeah, we've been here for an hour and 44 minutes. I think you leaning more to that, like you said, blacks in America could be Israel, but all blacks are not Israel.
Yeah, that's my position. My position is like you haven't said anything. I've really just not. I won't say anything because we've disagreed on a few things, like just from how we interpret the Bible in totality. But yeah, as far as like I view it as a probability thing that if the ancient Israelites were black, a black person in America has the most highest percentage of being ethnic Israelite. And you know what I mean? That's it. It's not anybody's 100% unless they can prove it through a genealogy, which nobody really has, or some other means. But the curses and all those other methodologies are logical fallacies. And I would, you know, disprove that if anybody tried to use like the Deuteronomy 28 curses or whatever. But at the end of the day,
I didn't even watch you and Yara. I know y'all debated, but I didn't even watch it because I didn't want to have a up on you by watching you and coming from a perspective I heard you speak from or whatever. So I don't even know how did that debate even go down? It was good.
Well, what happened was I was in the chat and I just said like, you know, something about apostle, and then Sanetta was like, all right, let me have this guy come up on the panel. He's like, you can hit the link, you know what I mean?
I was there when y'all was arguing the debate.
Okay, yeah. So
I was saying, how was it once y'all had to? I haven't seen the debate.
Oh, okay. Well, once we did the debate, the problem was he kind of went with the spiritual Israel angle, and I agree with him on that. But the problem was, like, I'd ask him questions to try to get him to be like, okay, is it okay that I can call myself an Israelite then? And then he'd be like, no, you can't call yourself an Israelite. So he was kind of like playing both sides of the fence, where it was like, okay, he was saying that he's a convert and he's spiritually Israel, but for some reason I couldn't be spiritual Israel in his mind. You know what I mean? So that's where we disagreed. And I proved that trying, at least in my mind and a lot of people's minds, I demonstrated that it's very hard for anybody to demonstrate that they have 100% unequivocal ethnic proof that they're related to the Israelites, but they can show that they have a probability, a high percentage for some people, higher than most. You know, like a black person would likely have a higher percentage than a white person, in my opinion. But yeah, that was about it. Those are like the key elements. I debunked, in my opinion, the Deuteronomy. You know how the Deuteronomy 28 curses are usually what some people lean on. I think I debunked that.
Well, you know the old adage, I'm gonna go work like a Hebrew slave. See, that's the slavery Hebrew mindset. I'm a Hebrew slave, and the only way I can prove that I'm a Hebrew slave is to take you and show you my slavery and how y'all did this stuff to me and stuff. That's not me. I'm gonna show you. Well, number one, my argument is on the cup. So I can be Ethiopian, I can be Egyptian, I can be Israelite, I can be whatever dark. And
Yeah.
so that's how I base mine on it.
But
And
there were Israelites in all those countries that you just named too.
now, now we can get into the spiritual thing where we got like 20 minutes, but Israel went and had babies with all these other people.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Babies are what they father are. And if I go sleep with a white woman and my baby come out white, that's an Israelite, but it's white. So you can't call a white person not an Israelite. You can't do that. They be hating.
Well, that's what I was trying to get across to Yara. I was like, it is possible that I could have had descendants from ancient Israel if they just had marriages with white women over the course of generations. Yeah, a black person from 2,000 years ago, 80 generations ago, could have a white grandchild. I mean, you see it in one generation now. Like Bob Marley's dad's white, then his kid's black, and then you see it the other way around, where Blake Griffin's. He's not the darkest black guy ever, so he's not the best example, but his kid's like totally white, like looks like me, but Blake Griffin's black, But if you watch basketball, like Isaiah Hartenstein, you know who I'm talking about? He's on the Thunder now. He used to play for the Knicks and the Clippers. The center, Isaiah Hartenstein, he looks like a total white guy, but I guess he's got a black dad. So it's like he has a black dad, and he looks like me. Isaiah Hartenstein, if anybody
can't tell nowadays because people are mixing like that.
Yeah, and that's just like one generation. So imagine 80 generations. So it's just weird that they judge by appearances, and that's what bothers me too, because God verbatim says that's something I showed in the debate where it's like God himself.
Oh, he said, I don't look at appearance. I'm looking at something else. Y'all know what I'm looking at. But I see this guy because I'm looking at something else. But no, an Israelite could look like anything. If Katazar from ISUPK can sit next to Captain Tazariot and blah, 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 and he looked like Shija Bozir and you calling him an Israelite, why you hating on any man?
Yeah, it's weird that Katazar especially is so arrogant because it's like if anything, he should have so much empathy for other races that don't look a certain way, because he's clearly not looking like anything that he claims is an Israelite. His dad is what makes him an Israelite according to him. And what messes me up about their whole 12 tribes chart is they're like, if you're Puerto Rican, you're an Israelite. But think about it, they're not saying if a white guy, if my father lived in Puerto Rico and married a Puerto Rican woman and had a child and I was born, they wouldn't say oh, Ryan's Puerto Rican, even though I'd technically be a Puerto Rican because I was born in Puerto Rico and I lived in Puerto Rico and I just moved to the United States a year ago type of thing. You know what I mean? That is a Puerto Rican.
Genealogy is it can be screwed, it can be messed up, and it can be argued, and that's why the whole black and white thing is here. The chessboard that the Masons, Illuminati, and people be trying to do with is just what it is. I mean, I tell people when you talk about heat, you got hot and cold. It's degrees of heat. 70 degrees and this 72 and this and that. It's cool. It's cool. You get up in the 80s and the 90s, it's hotter and stuff. That's what you need in the wintertime. So there's degrees to things. People don't know.
Yeah, just like Jesus said, lukewarm Christians. You know what I mean? It's the same analogy he used in Revelation about the church who's not faithful, lukewarm.
Tell the brother, I will get as wicked can get, and then I will repent afterwards. Just know that I play the game the way the game needs to be played. I'm not gonna be cold or be hot. When I'm because I argue with people with the Bible, if they get ignorant, because I'd have been up on the GMS cast in Chicago. They got ignorant. I said, man, I'll put this Bible down and do something to y'all right up here. Right.
Yeah. Why you saw them in person? See, I've never seen a camp in person. You've seen them in person?
Oh yeah, I've seen them in Texas, Chicago. I've been to many places and seen them. I couldn't deal with them only in Chicago because they was on 87 and I had family out there and I was traveling on foot, but yeah, I didn't see them.
Yeah, I've never encountered them in person where they had their little.
I don't like it because in person, one can hurt somebody. People can actually put hands on you and stuff. And I'm not for putting hands on people, getting hands put on me. So I would rather not deal with them in person. But what's up, Judah? You want to come on? The link is out there. It's at the top of the thing.
Yeah, Moises and Judah's here too. I don't know if Judah's trying to hop in.
Yeah, and then I put the link over
I know
there.
you're trying to probably. You just said you wanted to wrap it up soon. I mean, I can go for as long as you
It's
want.
all good. My thing is, I sleep during the day. Like I said, I'm a stroke victim. I ain't got nothing but time on my hand.
Yeah, were you paralyzed at all from your stroke or no?
Nah, it didn't mess with my voice. No, I called my sister them and I was like, I think I had a stroke, but I ain't got an ugly face because all I knew was a stroke. You mess with your mouth and stuff.
Yeah, you got lucky. Well, you didn't get lucky to have a stroke, but you got lucky that you were by yourself and you still were able to like get through it. You know what I mean? Like that's a miracle, miracle in a way for sure. I mean, I had obviously, like I said, you can see I can't open my hand still to this day. Like, this is me telling my brain to open my hand. My left hand.
You close it and keep it there too long, it won't open.
It's been like this for 12 years. It ain't opening. But yeah, like my whole right side, if you cut my body in half vertically, like that's what's still paralyzed real bad. Like I can walk, but I can't run anymore. What'd you say?
On your left side,
Well, I sit on the couch just to be comfortable, but I can't squirm around. Like, you take for granted the little slight adjustments that you do when your body's normal. Cause yeah, I mean, I can't move around like I used to, but yeah, I mean, it sucks. You got lucky, man. I mean, seriously.
One thing I learned is whatever side is messing up, you had a stroke on the opposite side. So my left side is messed up. I had a stroke on the right side.
Really? Wow.
They had to explain that to me because, like I said, I never knew nothing about a stroke. I just knew that it messed up your face, and I was like, I think I had a stroke, but I ain't got the ugly face. It was like, nah, you didn't have a stroke.
What was I gonna say? How did you find out you had? Did you go to like the hospital the next day or something? How did you find out?
Actually, I was sitting in the chair at the old house, just like y'all. I was sitting in the chair playing on the computer.
Yep.
And then my left foot, I thought I might have got frostburn or something because it was like 0 degrees that night. But I had the heat up, and I was like, my feet ain't moving. Then I had to go to the restroom, so I moved the heater and got up. And soon I stood up, I tried to take a step and failed. And I said, "Oh, I didn't have a stroke."
So you did have like some temporary paralysis. Yeah. Because I know that's part of some people.
They was telling me I've been had strokes. They were like, "You've been having strokes. This was just major right here."
Yeah, it's scary. Some lady in my church group had a stroke last year too, and she was like, calling her family, and because you're somewhat conscious, obviously, like you're saying, but something ain't right too. Like you're just having problems, like doing normal stuff.
It messed me up because I was like, if I never got to go up and try to use the restroom, I'd just sit there. And me thinking, I was like, I'd have just popped up and everything would have been straight. But obviously, I had a stroke. My left side was already affected.
Yeah, see, like I'll show you my right arm is fucked up. Like just like my right hand is fucked up. Like this is my right arm. Like I can't, it's just permanently fucked up like this. Like I can move it a little, but this is my normal good side now. You know what I mean?
Working on it. Was she doing therapy?
Yeah. This is me. I try to work out, but see, like I got full range back with my left. So my left side still feels a little funny. Like it's heavier and slower than it used to be, but I got full range back. But like this is my right side. And this is like me trying to throw a punt. Like, see how you could see it. I don't really have to explain it. You can see it.
As I move mine, I got this ball.
Yeah.
I'll be working with it so it won't freeze up like yours, because if you don't work it, you will lose it.
Nah, trust me, bro. I tried. Like I was in the hospital and my whole body was paralyzed. This left side was paralyzed, just like that, like worse than this side. Like this right side has improved. It was paralyzed more than it is now.
I can see it. I
Yeah.
can see it.
I used to not be able to lift this right side, like or the left side. I was paralyzed from the neck down for 2 months. I couldn't wiggle a finger for 2 months. The only thing I could move is my left leg. I could lift up and down. Besides that, I couldn't wiggle a finger for 2 months. I had a catheter, a diaper. I broke my neck in a car accident.
Yeah, me, I wouldn't be able to walk, and I was like, y'all a lie. I got down there in that therapy room, and I started walking.
Yeah, yeah. No, you have to attack your therapy aggressive as early as possible. Like that's a big reason I recovered as much as I did. Because other people in the hospital, like mentally, they checked out. And once you don't, if you don't fight it, that first week, that first day, that first month, that's mad important to like fight it. Like you have to fight it.
And if you don't know these things, it's good to be around people and see. Being a youngster and being around older people that didn't have strokes, you could learn this stuff. I was never around people that had strokes. So when I had it, I had to learn everything fresh, knew everything. I was like, damn, what is all this? And when they took me down to therapy and I seen grown people learning how to walk again, I was like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's scary. You got to stay on top of everything. And I don't know. Do you have to take certain? Like I take meds now for the rest of my life. Do they give you any certain meds?
Everything I got
A few different things. Yeah. I mean, as much natural stuff as you can try to help too. I tried. Yeah, yeah. I try it all. I do it all. I try everything. Everything's worth a shot.
Make sure the blood pressure and stuff. So I take my pills. I do what I have to do.
Swimming, honestly, I didn't go to the gym for years. I mean, I did a little bit at my house, but not like the gym because I was just not thinking right. I didn't have enough pain meds either. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but yeah, swimming's good. If you got a pool near you, especially like the Y has pools, but if you have an outdoor pool in the summertime, like that's really good. Not just exercise, but it's like, good for us because we don't have to worry about falling down and twisting and turning the wrong way,
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to wear a life jacket. I can't even swim anymore because my right side's so messed up. I can't swim without a life jacket, but I put a life jacket on and just float around, and I would sink like a stone without a life jacket.
Yeah. I'm a lot better than you. I should be back by the end of the year. I got little pulleys and stuff that when I sit around, I pull and I do stuff. But yeah, man, a stroke ain't no joke.
No.
I had it. I was like, I had a light stroke. The next day, the whole goddamn body went. It wouldn't work. I said, ain't no light about this. Woo.
Yeah, no, Judah, we're all equal, man. Anybody that's had a death scare at all, we're all equal. You know, anything that can take you out of here can take you out of here. So it don't matter if you.
I couldn't sleep for a while. I didn't feel right going to sleep at night. It's like, damn, will I wake up from a sleep?
Yeah, nah, Judah, it's been 12 years, man. Trust me, I wish. Like, I go to the gym now. I was slacking on my gym shit, but now I've been going to the gym the last, 7 months, and it definitely helps. And I'm not going to ever not go to the gym again because it was stupid. Because I thought I could work out at my house. You know what I mean? And I did work out at my house a little, but it's nothing like having a gym membership. When you got the gym membership, you can do so many more things. You can work your legs out. You can do everything, So, yeah, I mean, I can improve my right side, but it's never going to. It's been 12 years, so I'm not holding my breath, hoping that. I mean, I love it. I would love if it occurred, but I'm not holding my breath, expecting to ever have, full range back again.
Yeah, well, see, I would see you on the couch and I would ask questions, but I didn't know that you had a stroke and you was like that.
No, I broke my neck.
Oh, you broke your neck.
Yeah. That, like I said, it was a car accident. This Moises guy keeps asking for the link. Do you want me to try to put it on my channel?
Brother, listen, brother. Go to @Israel Doctrine. You will come to my channel. Go to the top of the thing and you can get in. I even put the link over there.
Let me try to
over there down. Or you
Yeah.
can put it even up at the top because I done put it over there.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. If I try to do it, I can't figure out how to do it on my
You gotta
channel.
go to your channel.
Yeah, I don't. I'd have to. I don't think I could do it. I think you got to do it. But you already put the link in, so I don't know why he's having trouble hitting it.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It pop up, maybe you won't.
Who knows? Who knows? I think you put the links in the chat, Moises. I don't know. You got to just maybe you're got to restart your computer or something. Oh, here's another thing down here. Share your referral link. I don't know. This isn't usually what I hit, so this ain't it. That ain't it. That's not it. That's like to.
That's not it.
That's to like join StreamYard and like pay for monthly things. Yeah, what plan do you do? I used to pay like $25 a month. Which plan?
I didn't do enough to get the ban off.
Yeah. 25 a month. They had a deal for like $10 a month, but then you had to have their StreamYard thing showing every stream, so that was kind of annoying. But yeah, I just wasn't doing enough shows to make it make sense to pay $20 a month because a month or two I paid $20 and I didn't even stream, you know. So I just said, screw it, I'll use the 20 free hours, and then if I start doing more shows, I'll start paying for it again, you know.
Yeah, it's all good.
StreamYard's good though. I like it. You know, that's pretty much what most people use because Google owns YouTube. Whatever, Google owns YouTube, and StreamYard's like a Google thing, so it's definitely compatible with YouTube.
Well, what they did, they took the Google because Google used to have. That's why when you hear me open up, I said, "Welcome to my Israel Doctrine Google channel," because it's a Google thing. But see, once upon a time they used to have it, but they cut out that Google system because it was something illegal going on with it.
Yeah, still StreamYard, I like it because I'm comfortable with it because I use it on my channel. So I like when somebody has StreamYard, like whatever Judah used the other day. I was like kind of confused with some of that stuff. Like it was easy to figure out, but so it really wasn't that big of a difference. But I've tried Restream. I tried one or two other ones for whatever reason. I mean, some of them I think look better than StreamYard. Like, you know what I mean? They look like more fancy or just better clarity, but I don't know. I don't pay for the most expensive StreamYard either. You know, like I've never tried like the $50, $60 one or whatever. I'm sure that's a little nicer, but this does the job, you know.
To the guy, I put it in the apologetic 747. See, I hit it. I went to his channel.
Oh, you just put it in my channel too?
And I put it over here so you can get in it. Here it goes. It's finna go up right now.
Yeah, I seen you put it in the comments. I see it on your channel here too. I don't know why he's having. Maybe he's watching from my channel, and then because he's on my channel, that's why. I have no idea. That's I have no idea. But yeah, you put it in my chat now.
Yeah, I put it in his chat. But
yeah,
he keep talking, but he ain't coming up. Because if he come up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this up because I don't trust nobody. You won't be putting no dick.
You put Machiavelli up, the Prince.
Israel Doctrine been plotting since '96.
That's Machiavelli, right?
I know who it is. Yes, that's who it is.
I read that book in high school, man. I love that book, The Prince.
Niccolo Machiavelli.
Yeah. See, we're on the same wavelength because I knew who that was right away. I read that book in high school because Tupac put me on. And I don't know if Tupac put you onto him too, but Tupac put a lot of people onto him. Oh boy, here you called his name like Candyman, Israel Doctrine. So here he is.
No, my bad. I wasn't disrespecting, just adding on to the chat, but I couldn't get into the live stream because yours was set up differently than his. So I was able to enter his, but not yours. So.
Yeah, I figured you weren't doing anything. My bad. Go ahead, Israel. Sorry, my bad.
It's all good. Nice to have you here, man.
Yeah,
but I know you got upset, Israel. You got upset because I made a couple comments, but I didn't make nothing towards you in any way.
Well,
so
I am because when I talk about the Hebrew Israelites hate, and so they hate me, and they come and try to take little shots at me, and I tell people, you disrespect me, I'm gonna get foul with you. I'm gonna get super foul.
What do you identify as? How do you pronounce your name, by the way?
Moises in Spanish.
Say that again.
It's Moises. It's Moses in Spanish.
Okay,
with
Moises. I could try that. Yeah, I thought the first time you said it, I was like, damn, I got no shot saying that. Moises. Close enough. Not great. Sorry. But you identify as Hebrew Israelite or no?
I was taught by them a long time ago.
That's good that you said I was. That's a good start.
Well, I was.
Well,
okay.
I tell people, one can always say I used to be a Hebrew Israelite.
Oh, well, in that sense, well, my foundation still lies there. I learned a lot from them, so I can kind of go into both of you guys where y'all going with all this.
Oh man!
But I can add on to my perspective from my point of view, which y'all don't get that dialogue much.
No, go ahead. Trust me. Me and him have probably heard it 100 times. Go ahead.
Well, one, I don't study as like when I used to. I was like over 25 years ago. But as far as like hate and the doctrine itself, why is it that y'all feel y'all should attack that when y'all should just stay firm on your own ideologies? Why is it that y'all feel that that's something that needs to be attacked or corrected in any sense?
Well, the only reason I do it is because they ignorant. Paul said, I won't have you ignorant, and I won't have them ignorant, because truly I've been talking and telling and trying to teach them for years, but they hate me. Sinetta hate me and all kind of stuff, so they'll never want to hear me talk. So when I talk on my own channel and stuff, I said like Tariq Nasheed, he came with the, a dub or whatever that is, the American Foundational Americans.
Oh, FBAs. Yeah, right.
I'm a foundational Israelite Black American. See, every time I hear, like he said, I hear a term and I undo it to myself. When I hear sound doctrine, I said only sound doctrine is Israel. So I'm Israel doctrine, blah, 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 blah. And I define these things, but people like, if you go ask a Hebrew Israelite to define what a Hebrew Israelite is, they say, because we speak the language Hebrew and this, that, and that. They don't even know how to define themselves, because whoever came up with it never defined it.
You want my answer?
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I'm not trying to interrupt you either. Just to answer you short on why I have an issue with the hate aspect is I think it's slandering God. So if you were slandering your biological father, if somebody was slandering your biological father or just a friend of yours, you would be offended, let alone God himself, right? So that's why I say, like, I gotta say something when you're teaching hate. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. My opinion, when I used to learn it, I felt some type of way, but I did learn enough from them. I don't go about how their methods, because there's history to their methods, whether it be racial tension or they're just pissed off. Like, that's a sense of like attacking wickedness. You know what I'm saying? And biblically speaking, you can attack wickedness. Even Jesus got upset. So their methods could be a little bit extreme at times, but not to the extreme. But when you said that they're ignorant is not knowing. They are not knowing because they know a lot, and it's debatable.
Well, they know a lot because they've been indoctrinated in that. So it sounds so sweet. I mean, if you gave a play and didn't stumble, it'll sound sweet, but you gave a play. And that's all they doing is giving the playbook that was given to them. And so when he say, hate the white man, they took that in and they believed it. And when they teach and do this and they get the scriptures and stuff, they can show you how they can hate the white man all day, and you can't even argue with them unless you know better.
Well, yeah, and it is debatable on both sides if you do know better. But I understand their methods, and I understand why people get upset. There's something that I learned when I was learning. I couldn't see myself talking to other people like that. But the knowledge that they present is very strong. Their methods can be a little bit extreme and tough, But once you get into a verbal talk, I'm not going to say a debate or challenging, but they'll break it down in a sense for you to learn. When they get too hateful, I'm not with that hateful stuff, because that's, again, spiritually, we could go into when they say, oh, it's the spirit. Ryan, I can understand your point of view, and I can understand your point of view, Israel, where you feel that their methods are too
because before it was
attacking.
Before it was Hebrew Israelites, there were KKK members. They got
No, not necessarily. The difference with the Hebrew Israelites that you will say now are the ones that brought out that black people were Judah. Before these guys brought out anything that black people in the United States were Judah, there was really nobody putting that out there. They were considered Jews or of the Abrahamic faith. But the whole Israelite doctrine comes from them proving who the tribe of Judah was.
How did they prove
Other than that,
how did they prove it?
Oh, well, we could go into Deuteronomy 28 and other.
Dude,
yeah, you know where they prove it. I'm not gonna go into it, but based on why the methods, I'm just explaining the methods.
Okay,
you would have to debate on the whys. So
I've already disproved Deuteronomy 28.
No, you didn't. You went into the Assyrian. The Assyrian was still in the region. It wasn't crossed across the other world, so that could be debatable.
What does the verse say?
Deuteronomy 28 is pretty long. So where you going at is around 665, right? Yeah.
I got it right in front of me. I'll get it for us because I got.
Oh, you're debating, or are we're just?
No, it's friendly conversation.
Because I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I got my Heineken, but we can talk. I'm not trying to be holy.
Yeah, I got.
I'm not trying to be holy.
It ain't fair because I got a whole PowerPoint right in front of me, and you're walking around. I ain't trying to put you on the spot.
No, well, go ahead if you want to. We'll see how it goes.
Like you said, the debate can't be fulfilled by Assyria, yet the verse can't be fulfilled by Assyria, but the verse says, and the Lord will bring you back in ships to Egypt, a journey that I promised that you should never make again, and there you shall offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there'll be no buyer. And then in the book of Hosea, it literally makes it clear in like the entire, from if you read chapter 7 to 11, it just repeatedly calls Assyria Egypt over and over again.
I already got you, though. I already got you. I'm gonna break it down right now.
Go ahead. You
said in the beginning, it said it will never take place again. You want to repeat that?
He said, I promised that I would never do it again. Yeah.
Again, so did it happen again with the slave, Atlantic slave trade? So it did happen again, according to you, using it as a prophecy.
No,
you already said it right there. It would never happen again, but it happened in a worse. Situation.
You're not thinking when was the Deuteronomy 28:68 was apparently spoken originally by Moses before the Israelites were even in the Promised Land. So they had came out of Egypt and experienced slavery in Egypt. So when they experienced slavery in Assyria, that's the again. Why are you saying that it's again after that?
With ships.
One quick second, guys. 1 quick second.
And then again, it promised it would never happen again. So apparently it happened again. So then we would have to prove how are the black Americans part of that prophecy.
1 quick second. Because what I believe is he said he was taught by Hebrew Israelites. So he bring in Hebrew Israelite doctrine.
Yeah.
Who, me? Well, it was just part of my stepping stones. I learned a lot from them. I add on. I could question them where it's like, oh, well, you know what? I don't feel that way. But at the end of it, like where I go, I understand both you guys that I don't deal with any man telling me whether I'm chosen or not. And then we go into Revelations where not everybody is going to be of that particular chosen number, right? So it doesn't matter who says they're Israelites, who says they're this, who that. You still got so much to go before you're chosen. It's not a badge of honor that, listen, I'm already, I got the ticket. Go ahead.
Down a little bit. I'm just trying to make a point.
My bad, I'm on the phone.
We was just having a conversation and I was showing color and everything. And he said he can understand and everything. But when you get to specifics and you get to Deuteronomy and this stuff got to happen and this and that and the Hebrew Israelite stuff, see, you can never prove that you're a Hebrew Israelite.
Well, yeah, because all right, one, he's saying that it will never happen again, and then he mentions the word in the English language that says Egypt. At least the Israelites will break down and go far back in what to Egypt possibly means. So apparently they were brought to Assyrian region, not Egypt. Yes or no? So then we have to break down the whole Egypt. Yes or no? It never happened again. But yeah, they were brought into captivity.
Hold on.
Listen, one sec. I would never go to Deuteronomy to prove that I'm Israel.
Well, the Deuteronomy thing is just prophecies that kind of like fit the bill. That's pretty much what they get you out with that. Well, yeah, it does. It does. Not necessarily all black people. It's just a time in history that's apparently different than the old world. This is where we're adding the old world into the new world times, and we're just dissecting this information.
So we don't need to be long on what we're saying, because I don't even want to agree or disagree with what you're saying. What I'm saying.
Well, that's your right. That's your right.
What I'm saying is, I'm never going to curses to prove who I am, because I don't believe I'm cursed right now. Now we might be cursed as a nation, but I'm born again. I'm out of them curses.
Yeah, that's acceptable. There's more to that than just that.
Do you think we can have a really long conversation on my channel about?
Yeah, that's what it's about. I'm not trying to break down the debate. We're just dialoguing. You know what I'm saying? I respect you, Ryan, because you're coming at the game like, you know, where you standing up. I respect you. Israel Doctrine, I seen you on Sonetta before, so I heard of you. I don't know what you go through personally, bro, but I understand there's a lot of people competing to that Israelite information, but you got to also understand the origin of who was Judah, who brought the information of Judah before it became so widespread. That's just Judah. And then other stuff that led from there.
I'm debating Zion Lex this weekend, Sunday, on is Deuteronomy 28. Zion.
Oh, Zion Lex, yeah, he's more Jewish though. Like he's gonna come from more of a Jewish perspective.
He definitely leans Jewish, but he's gonna be representing that Deuteronomy 28 curses side of things.
Oh, and much more. Oh, you better have some shit.
I got an idea where he's coming, and it's
so
not the best idea for him to come that way, but he's got to sort of come that way from what he's trying to defend. So I understand he's got to do that, but.
He's similar to Israel Doctrine, where he's not like he's the mainstream. He's not a mainstream Israelite that were brought out there first before all these sub Israelites. I'm gonna say, yeah, but
he was Old Testament,
understandable.
Time, yeah,
he's a Hebrew Israelite. See, that's the thing between me and all of them. Zion Lex a Hebrew Israelite.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I see his stuff here and there, but he goes more into like a Jewish perspective, Old Testament.
Old Testament.
Torah. I don't think he knows about the New Testament. So Ryan, you're more New Testament. You're more into the teachings of Jesus. Where Zion Lex is more Old Testament. If you jump into the teachings of Jesus, I'm sorry.
Old Testament. He been graduated to New Testament because you can only be an Old Testament for so long, because there's more Christians in this world than anything. So he changed.
Graduated by you?
Nah, he don't fuck with me. He know that.
All right, well, yeah, well then it's debatable then where he's at with the New Testament now. Of what I remember, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Same with a lot of people who, they're not really, they don't know about Christianity and the teachings of Jesus Christ, and then add putting them into the Old Testament and as a whole. You know what I'm saying? That's where you find certain people that they can't combine the two. They're either or they're just not as deep that they could keep breaking it down to certain levels.
Yeah, but don't you realize that most of the prophecies about Israel are actually prophecies about Jesus, and that Jesus is the fulfillment of the true Israel? That's what I don't understand about the Hebrew Israelite doctrine that tries to make like the covenant fleshly Israelite people where God's true promise is going through. It's clearly the promise is going through Christ, and that's why Christ literally like repeated all the things that the Israelites failed. Like, out of Egypt I called my son. Like, all those events occurred just so like Jesus could walk the walk perfectly.
Like Israel Doctrine. You know who is named after? Jesus. Because Jesus' name is Israel.
Well, in my opinion, the Jesus was a prophecy of him dying for the sins prior to that, which allowed grace post Jesus Christ. So it's like you're saying you're an Israelite, but if you're not going to walk the walk, what's the point of you saying you're an Israelite if you're still not standing up for what it stands for? So a lot of people could start saying, "Oh, we're the tribe of Judah, we're the true Israelites," but if you're not standing for what's applied to you, those curses and that negative energy might apply to you because you're expected to be more than just anybody else. Besides a follower of Christ, a follower of Christ is something else. But if it's in your blood to be that powerful, you're supposed to be that powerful. This is the difference. So go ahead.
That's when you ask why I hate the Hebrew Israelite title and stuff, because a Hebrew Israelite don't even know. Excuse my French, I am a cursing ass preacher.
It's all good. But I'm hood.
A Hebrew Israelite don't know what the fuck they supposed to be doing. They supposed to be teaching the other nations, but they won't give them salvation. They won't even give them one good word. They're supposed to be teaching the gospel, which is good.
You're right. I think in the history of those who broke off, there are some who have like split the direction of who they're teaching. Some are leading more to leaders. Some are combining like a nation. And then those who are broke off that are just like want to be led as I'm an Israelite. But how are you proving that you're an Israelite? So, there's certain camps that will allow women, and then some that don't. Some who are a little too much extreme, and then some that are a little bit more empathic. So there is a lot going on to it, but it still doesn't negate the fact of the knowledge that they're putting out there. Extreme as it may be, you have to break down through those layers to get to know who they really are, in my opinion.
They fucking up.
But they are a little upset. I think if I go back into my history, I'm triggered. I get triggered.
All up. Sarnetta is promoting them, and Sarnetta won't let nobody else come.
No, because there are certain Israelite groups that don't speak to Sarnetta. Well, there are some that don't even deal with Sarnetta. So you're trying to join in there. Where I jump on the chat, but I ain't trying to be known. I just jumped on here because I think Ryan is stepping up, going strong for Christianity. I feel your views. I've seen you before. I made a comment and then I just jumped on here, but I'm not trying to be known. But my opinion, I could put my opinion out there.
Deuteronomy 28, I can dissect like a fish, man. You just
need right now again. All right, I'm not ready, but you can go.
I mean, you just need to whenever you want me to do it. Just tell me. Pause.
No, because I think that scripture in itself is very powerful in itself.
But you're not even hearing what I'm saying about
the context. The context.
Yeah.
Or dissect it how.
Okay, the original audience are Israelites that are literally not even in the actual Canaan Israelite land of milk and honey. They're standing on the other side of the Jordan River, and they just came out of Egypt, the first generation. They're the children of people who were in the wilderness for 40 years. Joshua's still there. Caleb's still there. So when Moses says you're going to go on ships again, you're like, well, Assyria is not again. Yeah, it actually is again. And if you accept Jeremiah says God brought all the curses in verse Jeremiah 11:8. Daniel says in 9:11 through 14, God brought all the curses of well, he doesn't say all, but he said all this calamity of the curse of the oath of Moses. Jeremiah verbatim says God brought all the words of the covenant of Moses in Jeremiah 11:8. You can read it yourself. So if Jeremiah is telling you all the curses were brought, why do you think Deuteronomy 28:68 wasn't fulfilled by the actual ancient Israelites? Or do you think it was, and then you're saying it's a third time slavery is occurring in Egypt a third time in the transatlantic slave trade?
He's muted so he can't answer you. We've been here 2 hours and 23 minutes now. So we finna cut the show. All right. He's gonna come over to your show whenever he can make it over there, and y'all can have that back and forth. It can be as heated and crazy as whatever you want.
I feel you. My bad.
So I'm gonna mute him now so he can speak, but I'm finna try to close the show out.
All right. You want to come to my channel, Moises?
Well, you have I don't want to be interrogated, but yeah, you have to open up the way I could go into your chat, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I think you're set up for me to pay to StreamYard, but I'll set up a link.
I will. I'll put a link right in the chat. I'll set it up right now. We'll talk for 20 minutes, whatever you want. I don't care.
We could chill. I'm chilling. All right, Israel Doctrine. Nice meeting you, bro.
I appreciate both of y'all coming over and everything. I wish I could do it, but I need to go slob on my pillow for a little.
I feel you. I feel you.
All
I
right.
know what it's like. Thanks for
I'm
having
gonna look
me.
you up, Ryan.
All right, I'm starting now. All right, thanks, Israel Doctrine. I appreciate you, man. God bless.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Throughout history, several historical groups and civilizations have been documented as having connections to ancient Israelite heritage while being of African descent. Here are some notable examples. The Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews, a Jewish community that lived in Ethiopia for centuries. The Lemba people of southern Africa, who maintain traditions and practices similar to Jewish customs. Various communities in West Africa that have maintained traditions and practices that scholars have linked to ancient Israelite customs. It's important to note that this topic involves complex historical, genetic, and cultural evidence that continues to be studied by scholars and researchers.